Welcome to the Occult Rejects. In this episode, it's a very special episode for me. I'm finally getting this guest on that I've been trying to get on for months. Somebody that I do think is covering very good information on the topic that I think is very important. It seemed like it was almost like it was very weird how there was a couple of channels, and he was one of them that I realized we all had kind of the idea of like looking into the eyes and the head around the same time. And he's got a really good series on that. So I've been asking him to, come on and kick it with us. Before we get to the guest, I do have Lisa and Teresa with me today. They've been the usual suspects for this type of topic or just kind of like weird stuff. So I wanted to get them back on with me again. Before we get into it, Teresa, would you like to promote that amazing podcast you have?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on. I'm really excited for this. And I'm finally happy to meet our guest because he always pops up in the chat on our other show, the Spiritual Gangsters podcast.
Yeah.
So really appreciate always seeing him there. It's awesome. But yeah, if people want to check out the Spiritual Gangsters podcast, of course, we do Clown World Weekly lately, the last, 5 months or something.
Yeah,
We've been at it a while. So it's pretty fun. We just pick apart the news and have a good time together. It's fun. I enjoy it a lot. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And Lisa, what is up? Thank you very much for coming on.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Like Teresa said, I'm finally glad to meet London. We always see him in the chat. He's always dropping a bunch of bombs. So this is nice. This is a good day.
Yeah.
Stuff. And you want to let people know where they can reach you on
on Twitter, it's Solis Lisa, and on Instagram, Lisa Solis.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And finally, to the guest, the man himself, London McLOVIN, a man of many names as well, London Spielberg today. London, would you like to let everybody know, what your deal is, where they can find your stuff, what you're into? I know you do a lot of panels too. I think that's great. Let everybody know about that stuff.
Cheers, Nick. Thanks. Well, the panels that I host, is questioning the realm and the reality where we live, or what we consider home, basically. And there's many narratives that's been given to us about this place that we call home. So, I think it's time that we come up with our own ideology and narrative about this realm. And I like to cover, topics that are a bit out there, a bit extreme, but isn't too far-fetched, right? And I like to cover Crater Earth, the moon, old myths like dragons and old folklores and all these things. I like to cover everything, basically, And you can catch me over at London McLOVIN channel. I'm the creator of the Holy AI book, as you can see behind me. That is my stuff right there. I've got a series from 1 to 9.5. I'm currently working on part 10 at this moment. And I've having to stop and restart because every day you come across new information that makes you change your direction. Yes. So this is where we are now, and I'm hoping that this stream right here can put me on a different path with this work that I'm doing, bro.
Awesome. No, I hope so. And I really do highly suggest, not to interrupt you, but I really do highly suggest to check out his AI Holy Book series. Or the Holy AI book. I that's the one that I think is what kind of really caught me onto your work. Besides seeing you in the same chats, watching the same lives, when I started to check that out, I was like, holy shit. I was like, what's the odds I'm looking into this stuff too now? I'm been working on the same shit. It was just wild, and I was like, damn. And I really do think it's a really good series that you're working on. And just to let people know too, if you're going to put on the YouTube and listen to his stuff, I really think you should have the time to look at the screen too, because you are kind of visual heavy, I think. And I think you will get a lot more out of that. He comes with receipts and he shows what he's talking about. And was there anything else? I know you only have a YouTube. Was there anything else that you wanted to promote or anything?
Not at this moment. Okay. Not at this moment. Nothing. I mean, I've done my introduction. I've told the folks about the Holy AI book, and I'm just happy to be here, Nick. Happy to be here.
Hell yeah. All right, so I know you had hit me up, and we're talking about when we had BD Solano on. She, I think, funny. I think the episode actually of that we did the live a few weeks ago, but I think the episode actually dropped today with these sigils in it.
Oh.
So it's
Yes.
actually perfect. It's actually perfect timing.
That's
Tell you
cool.
the
Yeah,
truth.
I saw it pop up on my phone, and I was like, "Wait, which one is this?" So I opened it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I was on that one."
Yeah. The funny thing was is that like I even wanted to book you that way specifically, which is why I don't know how I thought I had you coming on tomorrow, because I was even like, oh, this is perfect. It's the 17th.
Yeah.
You know, with the occult numbers, you're gonna come on at 11 o'clock. You know, but so yeah, I do know that you had hit me up and you told me you wanted to talk about some of the sigils and some of the stuff that me and Teresa had even talked about, I think, on her show. So I'll pull up the slides now, and this one right here. If you want, I mean, I guess the floor is yours if you want to talk about this.
Oh yes, indeed. Basically, this one right here, I've noticed, right? Oh, hold on, let's pause this. I've noticed, well, I've been saying this for the longest, Nick, right? I feel like the sigils and the stars, they're on the floor with us, basically. The stars that we see in the sky, it's just a reflection of what's on the ground, right? And my work's been pointing in that direction as well. But this particular image that we have on the screen, the Pleiades, right? When I've seen this, I was so happy that you guys was covering this, right? But the way that I see this now, I see it in a different aspect, right? When I see this, Nick, it's showing me a type of beast, right? I think the sigils was once living things, right? And the reason why I say that, because I've came across this one here, Nick, right? I want to show you this real quick. Actually, before I even show you this picture that I want to show you, Nick, does this look like anything to you? And yourself, Teresa and Lisa, does this look like any type of creature or anything that could have possibly been alive before?
A scorpion?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
No. Oops, wrong answer.
That's good. That's a
No,
good
that's
one.
a
It's a
good
good
one.
one. Mm.
Maybe.
You know, when I look at, I think I had this conversation with Nick the other when we were on the other day, is that some of these sigils to me look like the elements on the periodic table. In that if you look at the circles, they could represent the electrons, and however many electrons per element at any given point in time when you photograph the element itself, where the electrons are, and then the actual pulse that they're giving out. To me, that's more of like a scientific background looking at these sigils. Not to say that's what they are, but that's what it reminds me of.
I like that.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. I mean, it does remind me of almost like a circuit Earth.
Yes, exactly.
Circuit
That's
Earth,
exactly
yes.
what it reminds
Well,
me
it
of.
does look like the inside of a computer, right? So
Yes, exactly.
the
Yeah,
motherboard.
you take all these sigils and put them together, you get the map of the tunnels underneath.
Yeah. Mm. Well, I mean,
Leads you to the pot of gold.
No, but it was funny because when I saw them showing like the tunnel system, you know, the way that they drew it like on a map, I was like, yo, those look like the Orbital sigils almost, or this shit.
Yeah.
It was just very weird. Yeah.
I don't know what else it could be. A creature.
Yeah,
Something with a tail, I
like
feel.
a fish type
there
thing.
there you go. Let's get straight into this.
Nice.
Let's get straight into this. Remember the Pleiades, right? The Pleiades. I want you lot to remember the Pleiades.
The
I'm going to show you
players.
this Players Club. Right? What's at the back of this, right? You've got the Pleiades. Right? This is a giant creature. This was the island Mu. Right, I'm gonna.
Oh my god! And I just watched Aquaman.
This is what I think they're showing us.
No way! That's wild.
Holy shit!
The three lines going up look like the channels going through the islands.
This is why I'm here. This is why I'm
Right?
here.
Right?
This is why I'm here.
This is why we're here. Never mind. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
No, this is really, really fascinating.
Oh, that's cool.
She hit it on the head. She said,
Makes me wonder about Long Island.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
And so the actual markings themselves, like the circles and then the lines, it's not so much representative of the actual islands, but the water itself. And it's and then the water would be salt water, which obviously is conductive of electricity or not, or channels electricity, right?
Channels. Ooh.
Interesting.
I like that.
Very
I like that. See,
interesting.
I didn't even get to that part yet.
Sorry.
Because, no. I mean, because my mind wasn't even thinking there. You, like I said, thank you. Yeah,
That's why
you took it
she's
there.
the smart one.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, you took it there.
Why she's here.
Amazing.
That's it.
Thank you.
Right.
That's really cool.
So this is it. This is the Pleiades. This is like the tail section, the back end of it, as we're seeing. Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
So it's looking like a fin of some type, and the fin. To me, that it looks like a sea creature.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah,
like
it
it's
does.
in a sea creature, you know, because
Maybe that's what the megalodon is. The mythical megalodon, right?
You know,
Well-
remember that dinosaur that has the spikes on the back of its tail? Do you remember that one?
yeah,
There's
I don't know
one-
the name of.
And
looks-
Kylosaurus.
I think so. It has the spikes on the end of the tail, and it uses it to,
I think is that Ankylosaurus or something like that.
Yeah, that's how you know you have kids, when you know, like,
There you go. Yeah.
you know them like that.
And Kylo or Ankylosaurus, I think it is. It looks like an armored tank, and then it has the tail with the club with the spikes. I think
I
that
feel
one.
you there. I'm gonna throw that up right next to that, so you don't know where we're coming at.
Was that like that flatfoot fish? What's that flat fish? You know what? A sunfish, maybe.
Oh,
A flounder.
flounder?
No.
Like, no.
Maybe. You know that fish? It swims, but it's like
Oh,
flat.
sunfish. Yeah.
Sunfish, I think.
They're huge, but then they
Or like a
look
mola
big.
mola or something. I don't know. It's another one.
somebody
Yeah.
said a poke.
Oh,
Pokey?
a Pokemon.
Oh, poke.
Salute to the chat room.
Oh,
Much love. I see a
Stingray.
few
Stingray.
familiar faces. Oh, Stingray. That's a good one.
Yeah,
That is a good one.
that's interesting. Well, water's above and water's below, right?
Absolutely.
Jeez.
Indeed.
I even find some of the names on that map just interesting in itself. too.
I was reading that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of these names.
The big
Because
tip.
you've even got Azan. I think Azan is a place that I've come across before. Poseidon is Titan.
Mm.
Ah, see, Titan. Okay. See, this is brilliant. Right? Because I've done work on Titan on one of my documentaries. I covered Titan, right? And I've said Titan is this realm basically. The images that they provided to us, when I went through it, it looked exactly like this realm. So, as they're presenting here, look, Titan on this beast, they're just showing us our realm again, you know. And it was the European Space Agency. They showed us their mission to Titan.
Oh,
So Titan,
yeah. Yeah, to there.
yeah, to here basically. They must have landed here or something.
Where
you
they
know?
went. Yeah, exactly. Oh, jeez. Okay, not to bring it back to Aquaman, but in the movie, the one that I just saw, they find the Lost Kingdom. That's what it's called, Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom, which is under the ice, under more water, like it's underneath our Earth surface.
Middle Earth.
Yes, like a Middle Earth sort of crater Earth, perhaps.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know enough about crater Earth to make the connection, but
Mhm.
yes, that's where the Lost Kingdom is,
Interesting.
and it's full of dead kings and soldiers. That's the whole
And-
premise.
And what's that? Is that the new Aquaman? Did you say?
Yes, the one that just came out in December or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that one. Thank you for reminding me for that one.
You will have a heyday, sir.
Mm,
I mean, there's
that's what I
got to be
want to
some
hear.
validity to that because, you know, didn't they dig like 20 miles down in Russia and they still couldn't get below or anything like that? Like it just kept going?
Something like that. Or the deepest hole in the world. Then they started hearing like screams and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
the Collabora project or something like this. Collabora, yeah. I think they reached. It might have been 12 miles down. Apparently,
Okay.
12 miles. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The chat's on fire. Keeping me honest. It's awesome.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And stuff. So yeah, like I said, it's hidden in plain sight. I mean, it could be or it might not be, but what it's looking like to me, look, even here, he's even got the lakes that once was, because these lakes aren't here anymore.
Yeah, it'll be the deserts now, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, jeez.
But it makes sense why there's sand there.
Yeah. And you've even got, I wonder if any of you guys are familiar with Roger Spurs. You know Roger Spurs from Mudfossils University?
No.
No.
What?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
What's the name again, London? How do you say
Let
it?
me write it down.
Roger Spurs. Roger and then SPURR Spur. Roger Spur from Mudfossils University, right? He was one of the reasons why I started to look into the macro world, right? Because he came across a finding in Africa, which was, I think it was Polydorus eating the fish, the typhon bird basically eating the fish, right? And where he found it in Africa, it's right here. Look, this will be the fish, and this is the dragon above it. But I should have really had it ready for you, but I haven't even got it at the moment. But it's over here. It's called Atlan, short for Atlantis, possibly, right?
Oh, wow.
I wonder if I can find it. 1 second. How can I get to that? Well, I'll leave that for another time, or maybe a bit later. I can show that to you. But here and here, this is where the bird is eating the fish, and for some reason they've got like 2 distinct marks there showing that there's one thing here and another thing here. I can't see the name of this because it's blurry on my end. It looks like
Atlantis.
Okay, there you go.
Right. Anti-Atlas.
Anti-Atlas.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of Atlas.
Yeah.
Okay. So this would be where the do you know the Rookite structure is? The Sahara, the Eye of Sahara.
Yes.
Yeah, this would be here, Atlantis, and that's what they name it. Plato's description of Atlantis fits the Eye of Sahara basically, and you know, as you said, there it's got Atlantis there.
It has
and
that swirl, doesn't it? Like,
correct.
Yeah.
And the Atlan Mountains. The Atlan Mountains now would be the typhon, the bird that is turned into the rocks of Morocco. Atlan Mountains. Right.
Oh, wow. That is so cool.
What else did I want to show? Okay, cool. So we've seen.
Which
No,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, just a little quick fun fact, which is the soil from this area is what supposedly creates our hurricanes that come into the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know.
Hold on, say that again, please. One more time.
The soil the sand, the soil that comes from West Africa, this area specifically is what generates the hurricanes that blow into the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
That's
I don't know how true that is. This is what conventional thought is, but that's what I've always remember hearing.
Also, too, I think the sands in North Africa get picked up and carried across to Sicily, and then it makes this like red rain.
Wow.
Yeah, because the color of the dirt, and then it mixes with the water, and it makes this red rain. I think they call it the Scirocco or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Sorry for the side tangent.
No, it's cool.
Oh, real quick, I just wanted to add, I did run Anti-Atlas through Gematrix. I thought it got some interesting matches. In Jewish Gematria, it does match Castle Rock, Rose Garden, April 2nd. Land of the Eagles.
Woo.
Yeah. And then in English, let me just skim through here real quick. English I thought was interesting was Serpent, Capricorn, Asmodeus, Fire Dragon, Blue Moon. I think it even read Blue Rose. I know David Lynch in Twin Peaks, they go on about the Blue Rose. But yeah, and Lucifer. I just wanted to add those. I thought that was interesting.
Wow.
Eye of Sahara kind of looks like a blue swirl, doesn't it? Or is that just photo enhancement?
Maybe the enhancements, because I've seen it with different images, basically different colors and different how would you call it, artwork. Basically I've seen it in different type of artwork.
Okay,
that's interesting, Nick, the things that you came up with that it correlates with.
Yeah, the dragon one I actually found really interesting.
Yeah,
and even the eagles, honestly, because it's like another bird looking thing.
Yeah, well, the bird is just above it. Like I said, the bird is Typhon. The bird is above it, and Typhon got struck down by Zeus, apparently. And, you know, it's crazy. This is why I said Roger Spurs, he's got all that information, right? That's how I knew that this was, where's it gone? That this was Atlas over here, Atlantis, and the bird, because I've followed Roger's work and it's got it in the same position over here, right? And Atlantis is right below it, the Eye of Sahara. So
I'm pretty sure, now I might be wrong, so maybe someone in the chat can correct me, or you guys. In Greek mythology, after the gods defeated the Titans, did they not flee? Or in some battle, they either fled to Greece or they fled to Egypt. One other way around. I can't recall what it is. But that one, that's interesting.
That is. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it's... Oh, sorry, I'll get the proper battle or whatever soon. But maybe someone in the chat knows what I'm talking about.
And Lennon, maybe you already answered that, or maybe you already stated this, but this map is to depict when the Mu civilization was occurring. Okay.
Correct, Mu. Yes, Island Mu.
Yeah, I've been always fascinated by the Mu civilization, because there's evidence that either they speak of the Mayans or the Mayans speak of the Mu, but there was correlations between the two. I guess, however they put stuff into stone, that they were referring to each other. So it's always fascinated me.
I mean, what's crazy as well, right? I mean, you said something about the storm being caused by, what was it again? You said, I think it was something to do with the terrain.
Yes, the soil itself from West Africa is what supplies the hurricane.
Okay, now, I mean, this might be a reach, but what if like this could be the reason why we get, you know, if this is connected to the Bermuda Triangle, you know, like Bermuda, and I mean, they do say it does generate an electrical storm over there to some degree, I've heard. I wonder if that has anything to do with, you know, storms getting cooked up in that area, just from this beast here, if it is anything. Because, I mean, I've heard them talk about, how would you call it? What's the name for it? Kinetic energy. There's another word they use. It slipped my mind now. It slipped my mind. But, okay. No, you know, I can't even talk about that one yet because I'm not even reached there. So I'll leave that for another time. But vortexes, right? The way how the vortexes get made, they talk about, you know, the eye of the storm and these things, right? And I've came across some footage, and they're showing a storm, right? And they used a camera to go up to look down at the storm, and they was talking about, in the storm, when they looked down in the eye of the storm, they could see a giant skull. It was showing them a skull, right? And in the skull, it looked like there was something alive. You know, they have thermal imaging cameras that can pick up different images, right? And the images that they was picking up, it was showing them something was alive in the eye of this skull, but they was calling it the eye of the storm.
Whoa.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's dope. I got it. It's I can't wait to release that. So that, I mean, it kind of goes with my theory about us living on pieces of beasts or titans that once was, or we could still be living in the eye of the creator or the eye of the being that came before us, you know, the upper room, the skull, and all these things. So that's another thing to definitely look into.
Do you ever like think like it's kind of like a basic term to use, but almost like ley lines, like there's some sort of like energy, like because when you said Mu and then like Bermuda, like, you know, I do think sometimes like words are used, you know, like from things that I have covered, most languages seem to have actually started like when a letter was made, it also had a numerical value with it. That's how the language started. So like is like, you know, could that just be like some sort of like difference in that frequency? You know, you're just adding more letters to it because it's been manipulated. Like there's, you know, the fact that they both have the MU in there. Could it actually be a tie to like something with, you know, some sort of energetic ley line? I know that sounds like out there, but I you know, that caught my attention when you said, you know, the Bermuda Triangle and like this shit. I was just wondering if there was like ley lines.
You could be right there. Yeah.
Isn't there vortex? So there is a vortex in the
like you were
Sea of
even
Aden.
saying before about with the hurricanes or whatever you were saying, those storms or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering again, does it have to do with some sort of like energetic ley line that just causes movement or something?
I think so. I do.
Yeah, I hear you there. I mean, the ley line, that's possible. I mean, when I do look on these old maps, you know, from the 1400s or 1500s, and it looks like some of these ley lines, they always seem to be crossing against going with the mountains, right, and all these giant locations. But through my research and following Roger's research as well, the mountains that we see and are called mountains, they was once living things, right? They was once living things. So it's like the ley lines seem to cross these mountains or intercept by these mountains and these things. So I mean, even with some of the old artwork on the maps, it always shows castles, right, built on top of these mountains for some reason.
Yes,
now, to me, I feel like maybe they was tapping into the energy of the thing that was once living to some degree.
Okay, so I love that you just brought that up. That's a great thought. To tie it back to the myth, the Greek and Egyptian myth. So basically, Typhon and the Titans wanted to usurp Zeus and the Olympians, right? So they had this battle. Zeus and the gods transformed themselves to animals and fled to Egypt, basically. And then Typhon was wounded. Zeus was wounded. Long story short, basically Zeus hurt Typhon so badly that then he fled to Sicily and Zeus threw Mount Etna on top of him. And that's his like final resting place.
Wow.
So yes, like living entities in the land, right? That makes sense.
That's
One
wild.
reason I was even bringing this up too is something that was in the back of my mind, and I'm glad Thrash said it in chat. But like, you know, again, we're talking about like we mentioned like the Bermuda Triangle. My boy Calder Crusher's been like over at like Mount Wilson Ranch and Skinwalker Ranch. He's been over there filming a lot of stuff. And there is like I think ley lines that run across there, and there is even they've noticed underground waterways that actually run through like almost like states basically, and like, you know, so like they wonder about that with like creating some sort of like energy. But they have even lost drones, and I think the History Channel has even gone over to Mount Wilson Ranch. And I think they even did 2 shows with Carl the Crusher and his friend who owns the place. They've lost drones because there's a certain spot that you'll send your shit up in, and it's almost like the Bermuda Triangle. in a sense that you cannot control anything, and this shit just goes off on its own.
Yeah.
They literally showed it on like recording it.
Is this over? Is this over water?
Drone doing it himself.
Is this over water that they were doing that?
I don't know. I just know that they did show like them even like losing control of drones. So it's just like again, and I think there's like ley lines over there. It's just very interesting how
I do think there's
same effects
on the earth that either cancel each other out or something. There's a place in Mexico called Zona de Silencio, and there is absolutely no way to get any kind of electrical communication or anything like that. Even compasses don't work. Like the magnetic part of it, it just basically spins the entire time you're there. And they say that it's basically like an anomaly in that you cannot get any communication in or out in this area of Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And so I think there's another one called over by the Gulf of Aden or Sea of Aden. That's another one like that a vortex exists that they have to swim. They have to navigate around it like these liners because they'll lose communication. So I think there's definite points on the earth where absolute electronics or any kind of magnetic doesn't work or you can't pick it up.
It's interesting. Like a complete dead zone.
Yes.
Right. I just asked about if it was over water only because I was listening to
good question though.
This guy, his name's Daniel Duval. He's like he has a ministry, like a Christian ministry. Anyways, he was talking about this whole episode on the entities and spirits of the sea kingdom. And that's a whole like huge rabbit hole I never heard of. And, mythical creatures that exist and that play on people on the surface. It was very interesting. So that's why I wanted to ask that. If anyone wants to look him up, Daniel Duval, fascinating.
I have to look into that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Here you go. Well, it's something I just wanted to ask you, because it might be something that goes along with your idea with like the stars and sigils and shit. Like I've wondered, like, I guess then you'd have to start questioning our own selves. But sometimes I do wonder if, like, when we look at the stars, is that like light that's being reflected down to here and actually creating something in like a 3D sense? You know what I'm saying? Which then I could see how, like, if you're saying that these sigils, like, could that actually have created that physical thing that we're seeing there?
What are you saying? Like,
almost like a projection screen,
Yeah. So I mean, I hear what you're saying. So it sounds like you're saying that's, how can I put it to you? Like solidifying itself. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I even go to the point of saying that, like, that's even us, that we're like a little pinpoint being like shot down from like the sky here, and then we just take a 3D form in some sense.
Got you.
You throw some colors in there, and everything starts 3D.
Well, I mean, how can I put it to you? It's like they do say we are tethered to the stars. I've heard them say stuff like this. We are tethered to the stars, right? And I mean, that kind of goes with one of the theories that I had about with this world being a projection, right? And I used to think along the lines of like a 3D world, like a AI world, almost like where 3D printing, the stars could be 3D printing and stuff like lasers. You know how when you look into a 3D printer, the way how the lasers work and it's printing and stuff, right? Like, just imagine the stars doing shit like that, but on a grand scale before anybody even comes into the construct. I used to think along the lines like that, because I've seen a few movies, right, and they've used the stars as weapons. Like, it will shoot down beams to destroy the enemies and stuff like this. So there's so many aspects where you can come out with what the stars could be, what it could be, not what it is, but what it could be. So yeah, I'm down with that, man.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck is out there.
Interesting.
Sometimes I question if it's just a reflection of the inside of my eyeball.
Or God's eyeball.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So we've, hold on, where's it gone?
Well, just
speaking
while
about
you bring that up, London, sorry, just to play on like the idea of reflection, like the sigils reflecting from the ground or living things into the sky. Also, like a lot of people think the moon is plays a projection of our land.
Mm.
Same thing. That basically the moon is a map of the land underneath, right?
Haven't you found shit on Mars pictures?
Me, correct? Yes, I have.
I remember you told me.
I have. Yes, I have. Basically, from my understanding, the stuff they showed me, Mars is just on this realm with us. Like whenever they show me stuff to do with Mars, right? I'll go to the location. I'll type in the word what it is they're showing me, and it will bring me up to somewhere in Australia, or it might bring me to somewhere on the edge of Africa.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I've got a few findings like this, you know. So to some degree, I just think possibly the red locations on this Earth could be Mars, because they do say Mars is the red planet to some degree, right? So it's like the red desert part, like even Arizona and all these places, to some degree they got red deserts. And
I have thought that. I'm like, if you just put a filter over like Arizona, you could say that's Mars.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Utah.
I once heard Mars is like Devon Island in the north of Canada.
And that as well, yes, you're not wrong there.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I've heard that as well. Yes, yes, indeed.
Well, speaking of Mars and red, the whole Adaman or Adam in Hebrew, I believe, means red clay, doesn't it? And that whenever they talk about Adam they made him out of red clay. And then the whole coming down to earth, let us make him in our image. I think there's kind of, the thought that maybe we first evolved on Mars, or we first evolved on an area of red dirt. And then red itself is dirt that's high in iron, which iron is in our blood, kind of keeps us grounded, or keeps things moving in our bodies.
Keeps us magnetic.
Keeps us magnetic. It's what
oxygen.
Right. It's what ties the oxygen to the heme group in your blood so that it can transport it to the lungs.
And then there is a verse in the Bible that I think it's in Daniel, talks about that iron and clay cannot mix. But I think it's like a higher concentration of iron. To me, that would maybe be referencing like AI or something. Yeah.
That's cold. That shit.
Yeah.
I find interesting with that, even with like the red sphere on the tree of life, iron is associated with that. And I've often said I think blood falls onto that idea in that area. Sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, they've been adding iron into our food for years. Yeah, adding iron, but like to have a negative effect, I think, because when you have too much, it's not good. And different types of iron as well. There's different types.
There's different. Right?
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry for that tangent.
No, that's good. That's good. We need all of that stuff. All right. So we've touched on Pleiades. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We've touched on Pleiades. Cool. Now I wanted to where's it gone? There was basically something you said the other day, but I won't even. Can I do it now? No, let's go on to this one. Let's keep it where we are. All right. Where's he gone? Okay. This one right here. Now, when you guys was going over this, right? Soon as I saw, NASA, NASA can't wait for its Osiris Apex spacecraft to meet God of Chaos, right? Asteroid. My brain went just blew right open, bro. Right open. Now, I've been looking into macro, the great Ziz, the bird, the serpent, and all of these things, right? Now, the moment I saw this, I was like, bingo, they're telling me right here, right? They're telling me again. Now, Osiris, right? Do you know this? This is an Egyptian god, right? For most people that don't know, right? Now, chaos to me is the serpent, the great serpent chaos, right? So they're talking about the bird and the serpent, what I've been covering in my documentaries, right? Now, even when I see the serpent and the asteroid, what they're talking about, I automatically think of wormwood, right? I think of wormwood, the serpent and the asteroid wormwood coming down to the earth and, you know, infecting the waters, you know, and so on and so forth. But before we get to that, I want to touch on this part here, right? Osiris.
That's
right?
even an herb that's associated with Mars.
What's that? Say that again.
That's even an herb that, like in magic, would be associated with Mars, because I think don't they have a moon? Doesn't Mars have a moon after that too? Wormwood?
I'm not too sure, to be
It
honest.
might. Wormwood is a character in a C.S. Lewis book as well.
Isn't Wormwood California? Or no, am I getting that wrong?
I'd be screwing that up, but I do know for a fact the herb is associated with
Let me see.
It was also recommended as a natural, not cure or treatment for COVID, because it's an anti-parasitic.
Yeah.
It works. I took it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
wormwood corresponds with the element of fire in the planet Mars, making it ideal for rituals related to strength, courage, and protection.
Well, Pamela in the chat says wormwood is used to make absinthe. Don't you light absinthe on fire before you take it? Isn't that the shot that you light on fire? Yeah. So there you go. Associated with fire.
So it's saying, California mugwort is also known as wormwood. It's also called Artemisia.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the other name, Artemisia.
Okay.
Sorry, not to get off on a tangent on that one.
No, you're good. We need that. We need all of that. We need all of that. So.
Not to interrupt, but I find this interesting because it has to do with kind of like MK Ultra and LSD. Wormwood is the name of the Frank Olson documentary.
What is that? I've never seen that.
I couldn't tell. Oh yeah, Wormwood. It's Frank Olson was a guy who was basically like dosed, and then like they kind of like threw him out of a window. Like, yeah, they dosed him a few times. He was in MK Ultra, and then they basically tossed him out of a window to shut him up because he started like bugging out, basically saying like this shit ain't right. You know, they were dosing people without telling them. That's what happened to him. You know, and they called it Wormwood. It's the name of the documentary.
Got you.
So in the C.S. Lewis book, The Screw Tape Letters, Wormwood is like the junior devil who's like tempting the main character. So Screw Tape is his uncle, who's like a higher up demon, and Wormwood is the little devil that keeps like messing up all the time. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I think you were going.
No.
Before I said,
you're good, bro. Okay. So, like I said, they're showing me the bird and the serpent, right? And the reason why I know they're showing me the bird and the serpent, right, is because of this. This is the one. What animal is he associated with Osiris? The ostrich, right? It's one of the animals associated with Osiris. The ostrich is an Egyptian culture, means justice, right? Now, this is what they're showing us, right? The ostrich, the emu, and all of these things, right? Now, let me see if I can find...
Actually, I had no idea about the ostrich.
Sorry, go on, Nick, say that again.
I had no idea about the ostrich. That's funny how you get to moo again.
Yeah.
Oh God, emu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the damn moo. Is there a cow coming up soon? Or Hathor?
I want to interrupt because the bird and the snake, so they are, if you believe in evolution, they are close relatives in that their blood is the same. They both have a nucleated blood, whereas mammals do not have a nucleus in their blood. Mammals are void of nucleus in their blood. So the only two species that have nucleuses inside their blood is avian species and reptile species. That's how you know, looking under the blood, what type of species it is in terms of the hierarchy. And then they both are oviparous, which they lay eggs in terms of, reproduction itself. And then they both molt. So like birds, they molt feathers, they grow feathers, and then snakes shed their skin. So they're very, like, in terms of life cycles, they're very, very similar.
Brilliant. Well said.
Yo, ostrich in English, not English in simple gematria is also the dragon. Isn't that interesting?
Oh shit. Interesting.
The dragon.
As soon as you showed the picture of the ostrich's face and making the connection to Osiris, I'm like, are dinosaurs just another occulted story for something else, just like space? Just like, oh, damn.
I think that kind of plays off the occult idea of the reptilian stuff, but I think most people are a little confused on
then giving them all these names, Rex this and
Rex means king.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Rex means king, does it?
Yeah.
Well, in the spacecraft you were talking about, London is Osiris Rex.
Then you get the Gilgo Beach guy, Rex Heuermann, who's an architect. Rex, killing all these prostitutes or whores in Babylon.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
In the Babylon. Yeah, for real.
Exactly. Crazy.
That's wild. Now, I want to quickly tie this in real quick before I even show you everything else. Where was we? Hold on. Where's your one that I just had out? Okay, here we are. Let's go back to this a second, right? Like I said, when I see Osiris and Apex, Chaos, Apophis, right? That is the Serpent as well, right? Chaos and Apophis, right? So Apex, right? I want you to remember that. I was watching a movie the other day and this came up. I wonder if you don't know where this is from. Skull Island, right? This is the King Kong thing I was watching. Now, do you remember what I said to you guys about when they were showing me the storm? They said there was a skull, right? And in the middle of the skull, they could see a serpent. Oh, sorry, not a serpent. They said something was alive in the skull, right? In the middle of the storm and in the vortex, basically. So going back to some of my work that I've been doing, when I've been looking into the eye, they have the parasite in the eye, which is the snake to some degree, or the dragon. This, on a macro level, it would be called a dragon, but on a smaller level, it's called parasite or a worm, whatever you want to call it.
And what did I say wormwood was? An anti-parasitic.
Makes me think of Prometheus. With the aliens with the little worms coming out of their eyes first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Exactly that. So if we're going to...
We had on Spiritual Gangsters, Alpha Talks, our guest one time. He has a whole series on his channel about how parasites are demons. Very interesting. Yeah.
That is interesting.
They do prey upon energy. So even in the para realm, for sure.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Something I do want to mention real quick before you go on. And I know I've seen this come up before in other series that I've done with Teresa and Lisa, and I'm pretty sure I've spoken to her about it with Lisa. She's more into the numbers. 39 emu will equal simple gematria in 39, and I had mentioned, I think, this also recently, how I thought something was up with that because it's very much like a reflection in 93. And I think, if I remember correctly, it was somebody on Twitter, I'm not sure, maybe YouTube, but like somebody even left like this long explanation about like why 39 is very significant because of it being like the opposite of what 93 also represents. and that could be like Moon and Saturn relationships there going on. But I was shown recently by somebody who listens to the show how important 39 is, and this does equal 39. So I figured I'd just bring it up.
Well, that's brilliant stuff actually, because I like the way you tied it in 39, but then you also got to remember it's a mirrored realm that we live in. So when you reverse that, I think that would be the quote unquote the distance to the moon. I'm quite sure it's 93
million miles. Yeah, Wu-Tang mentions that 2 or 3 times in their song Triumph.
There
Pretty
you go.
sure it's on purpose.
There you go. My man.
Not Wu-Tang or anything. Well, whatever. But I mean, I do like their stuff, but they're definitely occultists, I think. So.
Of course, bro. Hey, we're holding them guilty in this court right now as well. They know the truth. They know the truth, right? They've got about 2 albums. No, sorry, 2 covers that I've seen that's promoting Crater Earth, right? One called Beneath the Surface, and the other one is called, I think, Crickets or something like this, right? And basically, it's Crater Earth. You can see through the artwork that they're showing you Crater Earth.
Mm.
And you
London,
understand?
your micro macro mirror, that's, I mean, if you were to, the way you described the moon, that's if you were to look into the eye itself, the mirror sense, and then the flipping as well. Whether you go to the lens or you go all the way back to the occipital part where it flips it back correctly, or what we think is correct. So it kind of is as below, so below, as above. Yeah, that one.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with you there. Definitely. I mean, most of these entertainers, or whoever you want to call them, they do, to some degree, I think they know what's going on, but they can't really just come out right and tell you. I think there was even another artist, his name was B.O.B. Bob, I think they call him. And he was heavy on this flat earth stuff. And even when you go back to some of the old, like, I can't call them R&B, more like lovers rock, or maybe the R&B back in the day, like Earth, Wind and Fire and these people, they've all got occult symbols like pointing towards flat earth, crater earth, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and look at some like 60s, 70s, and even like early 80s bands, there was like rock or like stuff like you would think is harmless, and look at their artwork, or actually even like look at their lyrics and actually think about what they're saying. You'd be surprised, in my opinion. I think the shit has been blatantly in our faces for a long time.
I agree, definitely agree with that. Like I said, we tied it in. The ostrich, the bird, Osiris. All right. And you lot to see this. Make sure you lot guys see this. Not that one. This is a pep again. Got a pep pair, the serpent. Like I said, this is tying back in with where's it gone?
It's interesting how APEP matches death, and it's 38, not 30.
But you know what else I see as well, though, right? I mean, it's so clever the way how they disguise what they're actually trying to hit on with, right? Because look, what is King Kong? He's an ape, right? And you got APE, right? Ape, right? That looks like a
Ape X. Oh shit!
There you go.
Ape X, but could that be like, what is the X? Like the X chromosome, the X, like it's the missing link, the man, like what are they trying to tell us?
Well, and the E is stylized to have the 3 slashes, like in the sigil you showed us before, the Pleiades.
Yeah.
The fuck? Oh, I don't know if someone said it in the chat. How you were connecting Osiris to the ostrich, and then I know that, is it Ma'at in Egyptian mythology?
Yeah, the bird.
She is the personification of truth in the feather, and it is an ostrich feather.
Ooh.
Just look that up right now. I was like, what kind of feather?
With tools too. They're like, the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Toth has been depicted as an ape in other ways,
Okay.
or a monkey, something
Or a
like
monkey. Yeah, I
Oh,
think the
yeah.
baboon. I think the baboon.
And I think
you're right.
in Hindu pantheon, that's Hanuman, the monkey.
that. Yeah, you remember even when we had that guy on, Rick, wasn't he showing like that some kind of like ape look? I forgot what it was. It might have been a baboon actually. And how
Yes.
part of the brain that was even, I
Yeah.
had brought up the Toth thing.
Yes, that's right. I do remember that. Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy. Look, I mean, even this little thing here, right? Like it's got the dome aspect of it.
Yeah.
Ah.
Or it's like, how would you call it? The when they show you the OTO maps when it's got the three lands like divided, you got Europe, Asia, and Africa. That's what I'm kind of getting from that as well. But on the skull, because I've broken some stuff down, and on the skull it's got like 3 parts if you kind of want to break it down into sections. Right, that's what this is reminding me of, like the skull, the head, the upper room, like I was talking, like I've been discussing, the upper room, meaning the head.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we want to go now? Okay. All right, now which I come off that stuff. Okay, boom, let's go back to this. No, I haven't even got that with me. Hold on. Is it this one? Where are we now? Okay, cool. You guys know, you know what this is? Anyone in the chat know what this is right here?
I have no idea.
Okay. Ladies, you know what this is? What I'm showing you?
No.
I'm going to say that it looks like mountain peaks, but
A village, maybe?
Okay. Now, do you know what? Hold on 1 second. We're going a bit too far. Let me come back to this first. First of all, I want to go back to this. All right. Let me go back to this. Because look, like I said, a pep, right? A pep. You see it on the screen? A pep. All right. Then you got him down here. A pep. Apophis again. This is the serpent. Right. Now, is this the serpent in the eye, or are they showing us this? Was they showing us this on the boat?
Oh.
the serpent in the eye looks like the mu. It M-U.
Oh,
okay.
shit.
Right?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see where you're going with that.
Sorry. But anyway.
No, you're good.
Flip that upside down, you got a hat.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, because look, even if we look down at the Egyptian one, right, it's got the bird on top of this, right? Now, this thing here, this kind of boat looking thing, could that be depicted as the serpent? So you got the bird and the serpent together again. How would you call it? Osiris and Apex again. That's just a little food for thought. But they look very similar, right? And something else looks similar to that one. Would have been, I still got it here.
Oh. What's that?
This is hold on, let me come out of that one.
Isn't that from the Alchem?
Yeah, right. That looks like something from like
the
Islamic
Cleopatra
golden.
Alchemist, yeah, but maybe not.
Looks like a genie lamp.
A crescent moon or whatever, but
yeah. Do you know what that is? That is wild.
The item on the left with the circle at the top, it looks like what Cleopatra the Alchemist drew on her one page. Remember, she had a one page and she had just 3 images. She had something similar to that on one side.
When I see this, right, especially these cavities right here, it reminds me of this, like the eyes. Like we've seen it from a different angle almost. Like this is where the eyes would sit.
Oh.
This would be the skull and everything back here.
Yeah, I see that for sure.
See where I'm going with it? Okay.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. And that's kind of how they're formed, London, in terms of like fetal development. They start out from the back and then project forward, outward.
Those gears almost remind me a little bit of the Robert Flood gears on the person's face.
Yes, they do.
Like that comes out.
That's true.
Oh, that's really, and before when you were showing that boat, just with the characters on there, I mean, it could have just been happen chance anyway, but that did remind me a lot of I don't know if you've ever heard of Resh, but it's like a prayer that came from Crowley's Liber Resh, and you're supposed to do it like at 4 times a day at different times, and like the things like, I'll just make it quick. I'll read off some of it so people get an idea where I'm going with this. You'll say, this is for like morning. Hail unto thee who art Ra in thy rising, even unto thee who art Ra in thy strength, who travelest over the heavens in thy bark at the uprising of the sun. To Hooty standeth in his splendor at the prow, Ra Horde abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee, the abodes of the night. But like you're supposed to be depicting like a barge in the sky, like with them positioned on it too. So it's like kind of interesting how like I see that a little bit with that prayer in a sense.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Shout out to Paul at the Flock in the building.
Yeah,
Salute,
right.
bro.
You saw that, right? Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt, but yeah.
He does it different, my man. He does it different. He dropped a gem today. Blew my mind away.
With what you just said, Nick, about Resh, I think we've discussed this before, is that reminds me of how to prime your pineal using your eyes. And so if you take this image with what looks kind of like a crescent, and you imagine that the pineal is the center, the square, or the center of the, where it floats suspended in the cerebral spinal fluid, it gathers not only the electromagnetic messages received at morning, noon, night, and then at midnight. It also fuels the rest of the brain neural activity to basically turn on, turn off hormones, molecular type stuff, or hormonal type stuff. But yeah, you do, and I think, Teresa, we've talked about this, is that you have to see the electromagnetic spectrum during sunrise, because it has a specific spectrum that enters into the eye and activates the retina, transduces in the optic nerve, and then basically tells the pineal to shut off, no more melatonin, and get ready for midday, when you will receive all of the information in order to transduce most of the cholesterol into vitamin D, and then you can fuel the rest of your processes in your body. And then at night, you do this, you watch the sunset, and that electromagnetic spectrum feeds that information into your eyes through the pineal, saying, okay, get ready, you're going to turn back on your melatonin. And then midnight itself has also its own electromagnetic spectrum, to basically hone in and feel the pulsativity within the cerebral spinal fluid of that pineal, waiting for that vibrational energy. So it all connects to me in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very, very true. I remember talking about that on the I series, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And big reason why I don't wear sunglasses as much as possible anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I go outside.
It's very interesting, London.
It's crazy. Thank you, ladies. Because even like this one right here, right? The one underneath the sigils that you guys had. This reminds me of the eyes. Because even when me and Z done a stream before, we was covering how the eyes, for some reason, it's like they've been wired crosswards. Like they're wired back to front for some reason.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's part of like uncrossing the DNA. It's like there's an uncrossing that needs to be done. I even think, to an extent, I know it's kind of like a big claim to make, but even Crowley's Knox formula, I question if it's actually handling that situation, because it's just an X with on, which could be your optic nerve, and that's the whole crossing inside your head from your optic nerve to your brain. So I do question if Knox, especially even when you're supposed to go like this. I mean, to me, that's just like your eyeballs and the optic nerves. Yeah. I don't know. Pan, and then, pan to me very much would be the lens in your eye. And those are things that are mentioned within that formula.
Hold on. There you go. My man, this is why I fuck with you, bro. Salutes to you. Right? Here we go now. I'm happy you said it because I almost forgot about what I was meant to do here. Now, you mentioned the lens, right? And even the other day, you touched on something. I took a snippet of it, right? But you was mentioning, I forgot what it was, but you tied in the color pink, lens. What else was
Maybe
it?
salmon. They go somewhere with salmon.
I think it was salmon. But you tied in a few things, right? And it was mind blowing. I've actually got it here, but I didn't actually save it under this stuff here.
Oh, sorry.
But let me just double check, make sure I haven't passed it. All right, cool. Let's come out of this a second, real quick, because you mentioned lens. Let's quickly go to that now. Cool. So we can see we're on this eye subject here, real quick. Now, this is what I see, right? I think to get into this realm, we have to go through, as they would call, the eye of the storm, right? Spaghettification, almost like to get into the crater. But I think this is what they're showing me. Now, keep in mind what we just spoke about, the lens, right? This is the lens at the bottom.
Nice.
Ooh.
This is what I'm thinking. This is how it would come in.
Yeah.
And that
Then it would be a
reminds me of
reflection.
all of the layers of the retina.
Yes.
Oh,
The
I love
hyaloid
that.
canal, and then that dome is the vitreous, and then all those layers are in the retina.
Come on.
I'm telling you, man, we live in God's eye. It also reminds me too of like in churches, a lot of like basilicas, cathedrals, when you look up in the dome, and often they depict like Christ in the center, and then like all the realms of like heavenly hosts concentrically around him. And isn't that how you look up at the sky when you look at star trails? Actually, Nick, you put it as the cover image for today's episode of like star trails, that they look like these concentric, like circular, patterns. Very cool.
I remember one time, even when I think I was live streaming from Yale when I went to Yale months back, and I was getting ready to walk into a church. I think I caught the I guess underneath where before you walk in, you have like the ceiling above you, and I caught that, and I think Lisa had mentioned, and I think he'd even showed me a picture of it. That was very much like actually a way of like, depending on how you're looking at the brain from which angle, it was like almost like showing you like parts of the brain before you even walked into the church.
Facts, yes. Before you even walked into the, oh man. Yeah, you're right, bro. You're totally right. Yes. Definitely. Before you even get, because you got to remember, it's almost like micro to macro. Before you even walk into the body, you got to see what you're walking into. You understand? Just like if something was to come into me, like a small insect or anything, it will see me before it goes into the body. You understand? So I know exactly what you're trying to say there with the church. When you're entering in the church or whatever type of place this is, they're showing you from the outside what you're actually walking into through little symbols and details that they're providing in the structure.
I've even thought of it like even this way too, with the way that they have like the brain like that. From the way that I saw the picture, if you were to like literally, if you were walking into your brain and then looking at the structure of the church, to me that would almost be as like light shooting up out of the top of your head, and then some churches sometimes are even like almost kind of like if you were to look down on top of them, almost like a cross in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So like that would even match like the soft spot on the top of the baby's head.
I was just going to say, Teresa mentioned that in the eye series, the soft spot, and how you have to keep it covered.
Yeah. And then like, I don't know, I always think like children are so connected to source because the soft spot on their head is open still for quite some time, not fully closed.
That's true.
Baby Jesus.
London, where's this picture from? Do you know by chance?
Just on the internet, I've come across it.
It looks like Dante's stuff, no?
There you go, Dante's. I think it's Dante's.
Oh, okay.
I think it's
Because like
Dante's.
this shadowy thing in the middle of the dome, doesn't that not look like the phoenix or the
bird.
double-headed eagle?
Correct.
Right?
Yes. Yes. Indeed.
Dang.
Indeed. Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Pointing that out. Yeah, bird right there. I've always been talking about the bird since I've jumped on this this platform. The bird and the serpent. You know, the bird and the serpent.
Absolutely.
What's that there? Look, they've even got, what's going on up there though? What's that up there? Like small cities or something.
There's some detail on this.
Yeah. Different layers. Different layers.
It's like a whole little town right there in itself.
Correct.
Also,
those are probably all the ganglions.
Yo, for real.
What's that? The ganglions.
They're like in the back.
Inside the
They're the
inside
nerves
your
that
body.
connect the signals either in the retina or the brain. Kind of, they're a specific type of nerve cell.
Are they like the squid looking type of things?
Mm-hmm.
Or they look like branches with like fruit on them, right, Lisa?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Kinda
Fun
like
fact for y'all. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, was released December 19th, 2023. That's the most recent Hunger Games, which has chock full of symbolism just from the trailer. I'm not as familiar with the Hunger Games series, so I didn't watch it, but Songbird and Snakes. Here we go again.
Actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, what's this one up there? Let me see this little. What's going on up there?
And don't forget, the retina is like the pattern of it itself is like a fingerprint, and songbirds are also a fingerprint for birds. So, and then the
They're all
patterns
unique.
do what?
The
They're
songs
unique.
are all unique.
Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of like that's how the baby birds identify that that's their mom, because it's a specific fingerprint itself to the individual bird itself.
Oh.
Here, I'll show you what I was trying to get at here with the ganglions. Actually, downloaded a picture yesterday because of a website I'm trying to make. I needed this picture.
Can we have a look?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up now.
Grapes on the vine. I think that's the way you called it, Teresa, one time.
Yeah. Or like pomegranates or something. Yeah.
Little
If
fucking
you see 'em-
octopuses. Shit. I was like, yo, this had to have been cartoons made out of this.
And if you see them layered back to back to back and then all across, it just looks like a network, almost like your sigils, London, in that you have these circular areas, which is the main cell body of the ganglion, and then you have the actual dendrites or the connections or whatever that basically connect it to the next circle or the next line or anything like that. But they look like circuitry, whether on a motherboard or a city or anything like that. And that's how they function. They basically deliver electrical signal and power to each other, information.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Say the name again, please.
Those
Ganglion.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry.
Say one more time.
Ganglion. I can type it in the chat.
Ganglion.
basically gang lion.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how you spell it, yes.
Ganglion. Okay. That's interesting.
Which that's an interesting.
Yeah, that
way to
is.
spell
Yeah.
it. I mean, now that I'm looking at it.
Remember that one time where I think it might have been when we were covering I don't know if it was Elon Musk or Gilgo Beach, but remember how like we were constantly like getting names to characters in The Lion King?
Yes, that's true.
I really thought like, and I think we were getting eye shit too.
That
and like,
and
really think
and
about
Back to the Future. That one and Back to the Future just kept popping up over and over and over.
very weird.
God, this world, guys. Crazy
I'll put yours
stuff.
back up. There we go.
Cheers, Nick. Good stuff, by the way, Nick. Loving it, man.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, we've touched on a few things here. I wanted to go back to this right here. Now I came across this the other day, especially this as well. This is out in Mexico, right? This is a place out in Mexico, but this ties in to what I've been saying about the star systems are on the floor. This is known as what's it called? I think it's the Ursa Major constellation, right? Dipper, right?
Yeah.
It mirrors this. This is what they say. It mirrors this.
Oh man.
This is what they're saying. They said it mirrors it to a complete T, right?
Damn. You can see it, yeah.
Yeah.
This is what they're saying.
Big Dipper.
Mm-hmm.
Start spinning that, and you'll get the swastika.
I was
This would
just
be-
about to say that.
Right? This.
Mhm.
This is what we're looking at, the back end of it, right?
Oh,
This is what they're showing us.
Mm-hmm.
But keeping in mind now, right, when how can I put it to you? This bit right here, this one at the bottom, this kind of reminds me of the fish, like it's got a fish pattern. Right, a tail down here.
koi fish or some shit.
Some type of fish. I mean, I could be wrong, but it could be the pareidolia, but it's got that silhouette, the outline of it, right? To me. Now, it's funny, right? Because even when I see this now, right, keeping in mind we just said the fish, right, and the bear, right? Now, what does bears like to eat?
Fish.
Salmon specifically,
Salmon.
pink.
Yeah, pink.
Oh.
There you go.
Ah!
And you need DHEA specifically from cold water fish like salmon in order for proper retinal function. In order to see the full magnetic spectrum of the electromagnetic spectrum.
God is great, people. This
That is great.
so good.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah,
Yo, for real. That's wild.
Cool.
this is great.
That's cool.
Wild, right? So we got
Yeah.
that with the fish. I mean, like I said, it could be pareidolia, but since I come across that star system and they showed me the bear, and I'm like, what does bears like to eat? And what does that look like? It looks like a fish to some degree. So I thought I'll tie that in there. Maybe we can reach a bit with it.
No, it fits perfectly.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I mean,
even go ahead.
go on, you got it. No, you got it, bro. Keep going.
Even with some things that I have shown that I unfortunately don't think like I have stored in my computer, but like it's kind of a stretch. But if you were to look at like certain parts of the brain, like kind of like the snout of the bear, and like right above like top part of its eyes, you will very much see that. Almost like even I hate to say it, almost looks very Baphomet like inside your head as well.
Like the
Or like
brainstem
even like
area.
an anteater look.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
The brainstem area. The back
Yes,
part,
yeah,
the
yeah, with that
primitive
stem
part,
coming down. Yeah, it
Which
almost
they-
looks like a snout.
which they consider it to be the reptilian part of your brain. It's the oldest part of your brain, or the most ancient, rather.
And like in charge of the base functions, right?
Yeah, it's all emotion based,
Mhm.
instinctual based.
Going back to the animals in the Garden of Eden.
Exactly. Garden of Eden. I mean, look, how can I put this to you? Right? I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because even when I think of the Garden of Eden, right, and how we just mentioned how you just mentioned the animals in the Garden of Eden, right? To some degree, I feel like man ripped their self into existence. Like we possibly came from the animals. Like humans wasn't never in the garden. It was just the animals in the garden, right? And from when they show us all these old maps and drawings of like humans with amphibious bodies or lion bodies, or you know, I feel like is that alchemy, or they're showing you the first original state of human before we got our limbs and all these things, right? Was was we basically, what I'm trying to say to you, Nick, was we even in this fucking garden? Was it just the animals, right, in the garden? I don't think we was even in this garden to some degree. Like how could we be in the garden with the animals, loving them, and then start killing them at the same time?
Something had to have gone wrong for that to happen.
There's a theory that obviously the primates are predominantly frugivores, right? They eat fruit, and there is a theory that primates who began to use tools to kill, and the moment that they started to eat flesh, the parts of the brain began to develop, such as language, such as thinking, such as primal, like predicting events or whatever, and that part was that eating flesh was necessary in order to develop that part of your brain. So that there is that, and I think in Genesis they talk about how there were animals that were eating fruit, or there was man that was eating fruit, and then later it goes into Genesis 2, like almost like there is a distinction that here is all the fruit trees, take from all these trees to eat, almost to say eat the fruit. And then you have Genesis 2 where now you have man made in our image, and it's almost like, okay, so was there a transition from eating fruit into flesh? I don't know, it doesn't say it like that, but you could allegorically make that, stretch. But I do think there was a distinction in the diet that basically opened that part of the brain, kind of like LSD. It makes a connection once you start taking these psychedelics. So
I like the way you put that. I mean, we can go, okay, put it this way, because even like they say, I like the way you tied it in with the psychedelics. It plays tricks on your minds, or it opens your gateway up, right? That's almost like what they say with certain parasites, right? And
yes,
the parasites is in the meat in them. So it's like possibly when man did started eating the meats which had the parasites in it, could that have changed our projection straight away, from eating the fruits, the waters, because the fruits contain the water, which contains the memory or the intelligence to some degree. So if we came away from that now and we started to eat the parasites, it's almost like the parasite could be working on the mind, making us see different type of things. Because I think they said there's a worm or a parasite that is how would you call it?
Mind controlling.
Mind controlling. There you go.
Many
Most of them are. Yeah, many of them are. Yeah.
And a lot of the epigeneticists, they talk about how evolution happened over the course of introducing viruses, bacteria, and parasites. That was the way that we could make the quick jump into a different genetic line, so to speak. If you believe in that, like I said, that's what they say. So.
Doesn't it look like the little alien thing, chest busters?
Yeah.
It's part of your brain.
That's crazy. But you know what else you should have had up there as well, my man? You should have had the early stages of the embryo.
That's what that's what that looks like to me.
It does. Yeah. It does.
Like that. But because he said aliens, I thought, okay, that isn't the embryo, that's the alien he's showing me. But yeah. I mean, look, how much truth is in these movies that they throw in front of us? Even
right. And that's a seahorse there, and then the one part of the brain is the hippocampus. Like hippopotamus means sea water horse.
That is the hippocampus, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that.
I remember in our episode, or when we went live last Friday with Rick, he talked about respiratory alkalosis as a precursor for DMT synthesis, right? So I just have my own personal working theory that if you keep your body more alkaline by eating more fruits and plant-based, it actually opens you to spiritual influence from entities more so than if you eat a meat-heavy diet.
Which is more neutral, isn't it? Or acidic.
Some people say you cannot change the alkalinity of your body no matter what you eat. It's like your stomach acid cancels that out. But you know, a lot of people argue for the alkalinity thing with diet. So I just thought that was interesting that, I don't know, depends. Maybe it helps tune your radio tuner in your mind to what you connect to more. And you were saying, Lisa, just now that like eating meat, eating flesh helps develop certain parts of your brain. So maybe eating more plants actually inhibits your development. Just say it.
That's a theory. That's actually a theory that talks about that because you're not allowing for those macro and micronutrients in flesh to basically turn on those processes within those cell lines.
And I don't think we could say in the garden, if that ever existed or whatnot, that, you know, killing wouldn't be part of that, killing to eat, because animals kill each other to eat all the time. That's how they survive. So, I mean, maybe it's just part of
one thing I did
life.
notice, and they do say a lot about animals too, like you could even have animals that would be considered like, you know, wouldn't mix well. If they were to come across those babies of that animal with no mother, they would still make sure that they were okay. Probably wouldn't eat them.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so like, I do think there is some sort of even understanding with animals, even though that they do kill so they can actually live. I do think even like they do understand like the value of like life.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the difference. Killing for sport and then killing for sustenance is two very different things, right?
Yes,
and many species are only able to actually eat one or two things. That's it.
And they always take the weak of the actual herd. They don't go for the top, you know,
So
strongest.
Isn't that helping?
It is.
The development of the species. I don't know. Stay tuned for my carnivore rant. It's coming soon.
Sorry, London.
Yeah, sorry
to
hijack
out
you.
on the whole thing.
No, you're good. You're good.
My bad.
You're good. You're good. You're very good. We need this. We need everything you got. We need everything you got. We need everything you got, man. I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Yeah, this was fun. It's good.
Yeah, like I'm saying, this. I mean, it goes to what I've been saying, man. The stars are on the floor. It's almost like, all right, watch this now. Do you think there's a reason why Hollywood put their stars on the floor?
Oh my god.
Oh,
come on.
Wow.
Come on.
The Walk of Fame.
Whoa.
Well, see, that even kind of goes back to the idea when I was saying like that we necessarily could be separate ones ourselves.
Yes, you've
Like,
said that
it's
many
almost
times.
like I Pet Goat when it starts off with the projection shooting down onto the ground, you know?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Walk of Fame, London.
Dang.
That's what we're here for, man. I love this. I really do.
Yeah, and then you even have, I mean, Walk of Fame. Yeah, Billy. No, what was his name? David Bowie. Yeah, David Bowie. He was big into outer space and space shit, and he had that song Fame. You know, and he seemed to be like trying to make a point, I think, with that song. Just weird shit that came across my mind just now. You know, he was very much an occultist and did sing about space in a sense.
For sure.
Yeah. Starman.
They even had Black Star.
Yeah.
Black Star, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Black Star, do you think that could be a reference to like the Black Sun? Or is that something different?
Yeah,
the sun is a star after all, isn't it? Isn't that what they say?
I mean, it's from like if you were to think of an eclipse, I guess that could look like a black star.
Absolutely.
Powerful.
Was there anything else that you wanted to show that you got?
I think that might be it for the mean. Well, I did have more things, but I didn't actually get them ready in time to fold them into this folder.
That's why you can always come back on again, and we'll just kick it like we just did now, my man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. No, that was a good time. I just figured we're getting close to an hour and a half. So if you had anything else, either you could run with that or maybe we'd wrap it up now and we'll do a part 2 at some point or just have you back on again.
Part 2 sounds brilliant.
Hell yeah. No, I like this stuff, man. This is very interesting. Just kicking around weird ideas and theories. And it's just, you know, I think they all have merit in themselves. So I like this stuff. London, let everybody know where they can find your stuff again and promote that series.
Cheers, my man. You can catch me over at London McLOVIN. That's my main channel, London McLOVIN, London man. creator of the Holy AI book, right? Part 1 to 9.5. We're working on part 10 as we speak right now. I may even include some of this stuff right here because it's been epic, you know. So, and I have a second channel called the Rebuttal Bar. It's where we shoot the shit, have a bit of fun, but we also touch on some things that we missed, right? Touch on things that we missed. We rebuttal it, we go over it again. And if it got legs, we bring it to the main stage, and then we bring it to the people again who missed out at the Rebuttal Bar. So,
oh, nice. I like that. It's kind of like an addendum. Nice, good stuff. If you want, I can grab your link for the Rebuttal Bar. Actually, no, I think I actually follow you. I'll just get the good link myself. I'll grab that and I'll add that to the bottom. I wasn't sure like if you wanted to promote both, so at least I put down your regular channel on there. So yeah, I'll leave the link for that. Definitely go check out his stuff. You know, Teresa mentioned it before, Spiritual Gangsters. Links for that are in the bottom. If you want to check out Lisa, she's on Instagram and Twitter. I can add her stuff at the bottom as well. And thank the chat. I thought this was great. I really loved all the stuff that was in the chat. I even had told, you know, at first I was even thinking about just recording this, and then I had told London, I was like, you know, I think I really would want to go live because I think the chat is going to have some really good stuff to say on topics.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened. So I'm really glad I went live. Again, I always like to thank all the people who catch the lives. You really do say some great stuff, and I try to throw it up on the screen. So people who do listen, you may miss out on the comments, but if you get a chance, hit up one of the videos and you'll check it out, be able to see it. London, thank you again for coming on, man. That was great. And it was great to see some of your people over here too, chatting it up in the chat. It was great to see all of you and some of the stuff that you had to say. That's what's up. Hope to see you again. And London, we'll definitely have you back on. We'll get this crew again, maybe in another few weeks. We'll chat it up and just talk some crazy stuff, man. I really had a good time. And that is the end of another Occult Rejects. So until the next one, everybody be well. Later.